Father Gary Chamberland. He is a Holy Cross priest and the rector of Zom Hall. I was a Kavanaugh Hall guy myself. We used to shoot a few bottle rockets in your direction, but those days have changed, of course. We also have Annie Crider, who is a Notre Dame senior. She's from Farley Hall, and that was just across the quad for me, so we couldn't get bottle rockets quite that far. But anyway, last month, you took spring break and you decided to travel. So now a lot of people will say, let's go to Florida, let's go to Padre Island, let's go, You went to the Middle East. And this is really, I think, fascinating and speaks volumes about how Notre Dame can help shape a student. Tell us a little bit, Annie, let's start with you. What made you decide, hey, I'm going to the Middle East for spring break?
Yeah, I had always wanted to do a pilgrimage while I was here at Notre Dame. And last fall, I saw the application come up for the Holy Land, and that's kind of the jackpot for pilgrimages for Christians. And I couldn't pass it up. So I applied, was accepted, and immediately said yes, because it's an amazing opportunity and it was a beautiful experience.
And so where all did you go?
We went to Nazareth, Jerusalem, the Sea of Galilee, the River Jordan, Bethlehem, Capernaum, everywhere. We went all over Israel, and we went almost all of the places in which Jesus lived and taught. So,
well, we're going to come back and get your reactions to that, because that is truly, it's an amazing life experience. Father Chamberlain, let's talk with you though, and give us a sense of pilgrimage, because we hear that word thrown around a lot, but in the Catholic tradition, in our Catholic faith, probably not as many people talk about making a pilgrimage back to the Holy Lands and that sort of thing. This is something that really is very special, I know, to you and to the students that you take along with you.
Pilgrimage really does have a deep history in Christianity, and it goes back as far as the early Romans trying to find Jerusalem, find the place where Jesus walked. But it's not always to the Holy Land. People make journeys, and in some ways it ties into the history of Christianity. One of the very first references to Christianity, and we find it in Luke and in Acts, is the way. And there is a sense of always being on pilgrimage, always journeying in our faith. And so people, for lots of different reasons, often crises of faith, transitions in life, want to make a journey exploring their faith. It's a little bit tourism, it's a little bit religious exposure, it's finding the places that Jesus walks. And that was exciting to see with the students this time, that when we were in Galilee, you're on the Sea of Galilee, you're seeing the water, it feels like the place that Jesus was. And we know it isn't, that it's changed so much, but it's still that same water, it's still that same grassy hillside.
The Greeks had a term called genius loci. When you're in a place like that and you know that there's something special about it, something happened here, you feel that deep down inside, and just being able to stand there and know that and feel that is really very special. Let me put you, though, in sort of Annie's shoes. Let's go back to the first time that you went to the Holy Lands. How long ago was it? You're an 84 grad.
I'm an 84 grad. It was only about 10 years ago. And I went with a group of seminarians, both Protestant and Catholic. And it was, to me, one of those moments. It feels almost silly to say. I'd been a priest for 10 years, but I was where Jesus walked. It has transformed my preaching. I now see the places, at least as they exist in 2015, I see the places that are referenced in the Bible. I understand how close Peter's house was to the synagogue in Capernaum. It's just fascinating.
All right, and now, Annie, let's come back to you. So here you are, and this is your first trip there, so let's talk about your reactions. What impressed you the most? What really had an impact on you?
So many things. I think, like Father Gary said, it's just amazing to be able to walk where Jesus walked and be in the places where he lived and taught, and where his disciples followed him around, to be present to what had happened in those places. And I think something that I'm definitely going to remember is being specifically at the site of his death, in the Holy Sepulchre, being able to kneel down and pray there where Christ sacrificed himself for us was a moment of gratitude that was so profound and so moving for me that I don't think I'll ever forget that. And that's something that I never would have had without this trip.
Well, let me pull out some adjectives. Was it an emotional experience? Was it a religious experience? Was it an enlightening experience? How would you characterize that?
All of the above. I think it was overwhelming in every way. I mean, it was just pure joy and hope I felt there at the site of his death, and just such a profound sense of gratitude and such spiritual depth in that place.
Yeah, and spring break, of course, coming just before Easter, and of course, you know, you're in Lent and that sort of thing. So, Father Chamberlain, what is the significance there? I mean, is that how this program, is that one of the things that prompted you to say, hey, spring break, let's tie it into something a little different?
Well, I think Campus Ministry is trying to run fall break and spring break trips, so this one happened to fall just before Easter.
Yeah.
Other years it would fall several months before, maybe. But we definitely took that into account as Professor Matt Ashley and I developed, together with Carol, a woman, an MDiv student, the program. We're mindful that we're going to be in Israel, and we're going to be in the Holy Land just before we come home and celebrate Easter. Mm-hmm. So it was clearly a part of it. And I think that the reflections of the students afterwards showed that it was really meaningful. It was powerful.
Well, it's a terrific program. We appreciate you sharing your experiences here with us tonight. Thank you for participating in Notre Dame Day, and I can tell both of you were moved by the experience. And, you know, I'm going to have to get on one of these pilgrimages one of these times. That sounds like a great trip. Annie, thank you. Father Gary Chamberlain, thank you as well. We really appreciate it.